What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Vegas 25. We have Dominic Reyes going against Jerry Prokashka, and going to be getting into it from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you do want a further in-depth breakdown on why I do like these fighters or these bets, go check out my full card breakdown and prediction video. I also did post my live stream earlier in the week as well. I'm going to be on vacation this week, so not going to be able to do the live stream on Friday, but we'll be back at it next week. But yeah, if you guys can leave a like on the video, as always, one small like does go a long way. It does really help out with the channel. Also, subscribe if you have not yet. Would very appreciate that. I have 4 bets as of now. Looking to add a few more. So it's going to be very important for this week to follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, or Instagram, DFS by the Numbers, where I will be posting my plays on fight day. But as of now, I have 4, but there are a decent amount of plays that I am eyeing, and I will kind of tell you what I am looking to play here. But yeah, only 4 plays as of now. But yeah, still waiting on some books to get out some lines, but I do know what I want to look at this week. And of course, we have weigh-ins, 12 fights on this card. Hopefully all 12 stay intact. I know we're in Vegas, so I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but if we do lose a fight, hopefully it is the Carolina Batalio fight. If anything. But hopefully all 12 stay on. So we'll get into it here. We'll start with the first fight of the night. Luke Sanders going against Felipe Calorias. I think that Luke Sanders should not be a favorite really against anyone, in all honesty. Like, this is a guy that's going to be winning the fight up until he loses. He's been finished in all 4 of his losses, 3 by submission, 1 by knockout. You got Calorias, who, honestly, he's not great, but he is young. I'm sure he's improving. Checked out his Instagram. He looks to be in phenomenal shape. He has a black belt in BJJ, and in his UFC fights, 3 of them, he has at least 1 takedown in every single fight. I think he had 3 takedowns against Geraldo de Freitas. He even took down Montel Jackson once. So if he is able to get this fight down to the mat, like, he has a very good chance of honestly submitting Luke Sanders, who has been submitted 3 times, who, just makes so many mistakes in the fight in general and also on the mat. So I'm going to take a shot on the dog. I'm not going to bet it, especially for the lines at now. If, plus 165 were at open, I might have took a look there. But I kind of want to approach it as, maybe an under look. I think the under could be a good look because, Luke Sanders, a dangerous guy in himself. Calorias, if he does win, maybe it's by submission. The only thing I'd say with that is just how durable and tough Calorias is. But I kind of like the submission prop, which is not out yet. I'm still waiting for it. But if the submission prop is a good line, that might be something that I do play. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. That submission prop could be a good player. Even, Calorias in general, plus 305. But I think the submission prop is probably how he does win this fight. I don't know if I can see him winning a decision. I do think he's going to be massively, beat up, probably on the feet. But if he does get this down to the mat, I think he's very live for a submission. So, yeah, I'm going to take Calorias as far as the pick goes, and I might be taking a look at the submission prop. Andreas Mkhitaryan going against KB Bueller. Interesting fight here. I do like the under in this fight. So most books have the under 1.5, but if you can get that alternative under at 2.5, I think that's probably the way to go. But even the under 1.5 is something to look at. But this is going to be the first official bet for me on the night. I have the under 2.5 rounds here for Mkhitaryan and Bueller, minus 180 and 2 units on that. And I like the under quite a bit. I mean, you have Mkhitaryan, who has only been to decision like 1 time in 16 fights. His 4 losses, all 4 of them coming by knockout. Neither guy's lost by decision. We're in the small cage. We saw KB Bueller come in there in his UFC debut. Very hittable, it looked like. His hands were down. He has that kind of like that tall man's defense, and he got knocked out by a jab from Tom Breeze. So I think Mkhitaryan's first round starching is very live here. But the thing with Bueller, he kind of has that unknown effect, like a Jacob Malkoun, where we don't know much about him. He could be improving. He could make a better name for himself in his second fight in the UFC. So I wouldn't be shocked if Bueller gave Mkhitaryan his 5th knockout loss. Not really. So I think either guy's probably live for a finish here. I do expect Mkhitaryan to probably get that finish in that first round. But instead of laying that minus 245, you might as well take a look at the fight doesn't go to decision or the under, as I do think if he does win, it's probably inside the distance. Luma Lukmuni going against Sam Hughes. I like Luma here. She's going to be the first leg on my parlay. We'll talk about the second leg in a little bit, but I do like her as a parlay piece here. She's sitting at minus 400. I personally parlayed here at minus 355. I remember earlier in the week she was like minus 335. I would have liked that a little bit, but I really can't complain at the minus 400. I think it's probably accurate. Sam Hughes, she's going to come forward. She likes to go in the clinch. You do not want to clinch up with Luma Lookboonmee. Sam Hughes, her striking's not all that there. She's very hittable. You don't want to be hittable against Luma Lookboonmee. And the only thing I'd say about Luma is she is undersized. She's going to be at a size disadvantage here. So Hughes does have a path to victory if she does choose to get this fight down to the mat. I can't see Hughes taking down Loma at least more than once. Like Luma in her 3 fights in the UFC, she's never been taken down more than once. Solid takedown defense, solid get-up game. So I just really like this matchup for Loma. So give me Loma as a nice, safe parlay piece. Hopefully, I know it's women's MMA, but I do think she gets it done. Probably by decision. Maybe a knockout could be something to look at. Knockout plus 300. Yeah, that's not good enough. She only has 1 knockout win on her record. Hughes is very hittable, but plus 300, that's not good enough. Got to give me a better line than that. So give me Luma Lookboonmee for the win there, and I have her in a parlay. Kaikamaka going against TJ Brown. Yeah, I broke this down on my prediction video. I got more into detail, but basically, Brown training at Glory MMA and Fitness with James Krause. I think there's some recency bias built into this line with, Brown going out there against Chavez on short notice, not choosing to wrestle. If he does not choose to wrestle in this fight, yes, he's gonna lose, but we forget that, he's a very good wrestler on the Contender Series. He had like 3 or 4, maybe 5 takedowns, had a ton of them. And then against Jordan Griffin, he had like 8 takedowns. So he's more than capable of getting this fight down to the mat. And we saw in Kaikamaka's last fight where Pierce took him down a good 5 times. And Kamaka just looked very green, as far as the takedown defense goes, as far as the ground game goes. And Brown is a legit brown belt in BJJ, a really good finisher as well. And I like Brown as an underdog here. I just don't get this line. I think Brown stylistically has the style to go out here and beat a guy like Kaikamaka, who has shown a poor takedown defense, not the best ground game off his back. Every time he does choose to stand up, he does give his back. Do you want to give your back against TJ Brown? Probably not a good idea. So I think Brown's live here for a decision, maybe a submission. But ultimately, I think at plus money, it's probably a solid play. And we see some money coming in on him. Open up plus 155, currently plus 135. I actually bet this last week. I got in on this really early. It's something that really stuck out to me. I dug into it, and I like what I saw. I like that he's training with James Krause and all that. So I did bet TJ Brown plus 155, 1 unit on that. I do like the underdog shot there. Gabriel Benitez going against Jonathan Pierce. Interesting fight. I think Benitez is very live for that first round finish. We saw Joe Lozon starch Pierce in that first round, and it's just because Pierce, he throws a ton of strikes. He has a ton of volume, has a ton of wrestling, but with that style, he does leave himself open to be hit. The guy is very, very hittable, and you don't want to be hittable against a guy like Gabriel Benitez, so I think Benitez is live for a knockout, but if Pierce does survive that early storm, I think Pierce can take over. Benitez does slow down as the fight goes on, and Pierce, he's the opposite. He gets better as the fight goes on. I guess you could say Pierce is kind of a slow starter. He had a really slow start in the Joe Lozon fight. He had a little bit of a slow start in the Kaikamaka fight. But yeah, if you can survive the early storm of Benitez and just take him down, wear on him, I think he can really find a finish here in the later the fight goes. Don't know if I want to take a shot on the underdog here. I'm going to pick Pierce to survive that first round, get takedowns. Benitez has a really poor takedown defense of like 50, I want to say like 50-something %. And Pierce does average like 6 takedowns so far in 3 UFC fights. 2 UFC fights and 1 Contender Series fight. So I think he has the style to really, post some problems on Benitez here, but I could also see him getting knocked out. But a look I really do like, and I have not bet this yet. This might be a potential play, so make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I would look at the under 2.5 rounds, which is minus 160. Very tempted on that. Even the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 185. It's not bad. I see there being a finish either side here. We've seen Pierce finished in 3 of his 4 losses. Benitez has been finished in half of his losses. Both guys very good finishers. So I do like that under look. It's not an official bet, but it's something I'm looking at really hard. Luana Panera versus Randa Marcos. I'm going to take Panera here to win. I really don't want to bet it. Marco's getting up there in age, 35 years old. She's 1-4 in the last 5 fights. I was looking at maybe taking a shot on the dog here, but after getting into it, I think Panera is actually somewhat legit. I do think she's better pretty much everywhere. And outside of Marco's getting on top of her, controlling her, I just don't see a path to victory for her. And even then, like Panera, she looks like a legit grappler. I think she's a brown belt. So I'm going to take Panera to win by decision. Maybe submission. I think submission could be interesting as well. Don't have the lines for that, but Marcos has been submitted twice. Panera, brown belt on BJJ. The majority of her finishes coming by submission. Small cage. So yeah, maybe Panera by submission could be something to look at. We don't have the odds for it though, but that could possibly be a potential play depending on what the line is. If it's like a crazy line, I'll take a shot. If it's something like if it's like a plus 500, plus 600, I'll probably just pass. But if it's like plus 1,000, plus 900, then I'll take a shot. So we'll just have to see what the line is. Pauline Botelho going against Luana Carolina. I'm going to go with Botelho. I think she's better pretty much everywhere at range. I think she's a lot better. I guess in the clinch, that's pretty old, probably favorite Carolina. But even then, like, Botelho is really strong. I think she can really dominate really anywhere this fight goes. I think she can get takedowns here. She hasn't done it much in the UFC, but she does average about a takedown per 15 minutes. Carolina, she just doesn't look physically strong. Her striking at range does not look great. Her striking defense looks pretty bad. She looks very hittable. Her chin's up in the air, has that tall women's defense. Would I be shocked if Botelho got a knockout? No. But the odds makers are really all over that. Plus 325 for a knockout. Don't really want to touch that. I think the fight doesn't go to decision or the under is interesting. But then again, I really don't want to invest money on this fight, to be honest. So I'll pick Botelho, but probably no bet for me here. Merab Dvalishvili going against Cody Stamann. I like Merab. I don't really like the price tag. I feel like it could be somewhat close. In a fight that's going to go to the judges, just has me a little bit sketched out on paying minus 250, especially the way the judges have been scoring lately. They've been really terrible in a fight that Merab's probably going to get outlanded in the total strikes. I do think Stamann's the better striker. It just doesn't really matter with Merab. He's going to come forward. He's going to push Stamann against the cage. I do think he's going to take him down. Stamann's very hard to take down. He's very hard to hold down. I just think the pressure is going to wear on Stamann. I do think Merab's going to win a decision, but I do think it could be somewhat closer than the line does indicate. But I do really like Merab to win. As far as betting the minus 255, I'm going to pass there. As far as a parlay piece, I'm going to pass there. If I was to bet this fight, I'm looking at the decision prop of Merab. I think it's way better than paying the minus 255. The decision prop at like minus 130, minus 135. I think that's probably the way to go. The guy's not a finisher. Stamann never's been knocked out. Merab Dvalishvili, 25% finish rate. So I think if anything, the Merab decision prop, or even fight goes to decision, I think is like minus 260. I'd rather pay like the minus 260 fight goes to decision than the minus 255 on Merab, because I feel like this could be somewhat close. But I think fight goes to decision. I'm not one to really parlay props, but I think fight goes to decision on this one, something to look at. And I think either fight goes to decision or the decision prop of Merab will be a potential play. So make sure you guys stay tuned to that. Sean Strickland going against Krzysztof Jotko. This is going to end up being my parlay here with Strickland and Luma Lukbumi. I do have 1.5 units on it. I got it at minus 119. I really like Strickland here, as I do like Luma. Really, I just see Strickland being the better striker by a decent margin. I think that volume is going to play a huge factor in this fight. Strickland nearly outlands Jotko 2-1 in significant strikes on average thrown. Jotko, I guess the one thing I was concerned about would be Jotko coming in here getting takedowns, but Strickland's a very good takedown defense, sitting around 80%. The last person to take him down, I think, was Kamaru Usman, and even in that fight, he stuffed like 6 out of 8 takedowns. So I think his takedown defense is good. He's been looking fantastic ever since that motorcycle accident, coming off a little bit of a layoff. His strikings look phenomenal. I do like him to either outpoint Jotko or even knock him out. Jotko's been knocked out 2 times in his career, once by Brad Tavares, once by Uriah Hall. And I wouldn't be shocked if Strickland caught him here, but I do think he wins a decision by just basically outpointing him, outworking him. Ion Cutelaba going against Dustin Jacoby. I like Ion Cutelaba in this fight. It's going to be a massive step down for Cutelaba, going from Magomed Ankalaev to Dustin Jacoby here. And he's fighting the best of the best guys. Like, he's fighting guys like Misha Serkinov. He's fighting guys like Glover Teixeira. So it's nice to probably get a step down in competition here for him. In this fight, I do think he'll implement that wrestling game plan. He averages about 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, 71% takedown accuracy, which is pretty good considering the level of competition. I do think he comes in here and tries to expose the ground game of Jacoby. And I do see this ending very early as well. At the over-under set at 1.5, and I think it's juiced to the under. Don't really want to touch that, but I do expect it to end early. I'm going to pick Cutelaba here to win in the first round. Curious to see the cardio of Jacoby, though, because he is coming in on short notice himself. Or he's coming out on short notice, and he has slowed down in the past himself. And Cutelaba, same thing. He does slow down as the fight goes on. So if this does get out of the first round, it could be one of those really sloppy fights, but I do expect this to end fairly early. But I will take Ion Cutelaba for the win. Chikadze going against Cub Swanson. I like Giga here. I guess I just don't feel great about it. I think Swanson could present some problems. Giga, his striking is phenomenal. He's making massive improvements fight after fight. He's improving that takedown defense, the ground game, it looks like. If Swanson wrestled more, I'd probably be inclined to probably pick him here. It's just he only averages about a takedown per 15 minutes. He's never had more than 2 takedowns per fight or in a fight. Swanson is a black belt, I do believe, in BJJ, but he hasn't shown me enough of the game plan to get the fight down to the mat, and in this fight he probably needs to do that. I think the striking, I guess, could be somewhat close just because of the amount of output that Swanson does throw. I just think Giga is going to be landing the more flashier strikes, the better looking strikes, and the judges really like that. So I'm going to take Giga to win a close decision. Definitely wouldn't bet it. He opened at minus 240. Money's been flooding in on Cub Swanson, and I definitely get it because this fight should be somewhat close. But I'm going to pick Giga to edge out a decision here. No props for me. Minus 110 for Giga by decision. It's not good enough. And then Yuri Prochazka going against Dominic Reyes. I like Dominic Reyes in this fight. I think that the line's a little bit crazy. I think there's a ton of recency bias in this fight, and I do think there's a ton of hype on Yuri Prochazka, and we'll oftentimes see that hype is going to drive that line. And we, guys like Impa Kasagan, I mean, the guy has a ton of hype on him. Guys like Kevin Holland, guys like Conor McGregor, guys like that, we're going to get inflated lines on him all the time, and I think that there's a ton of hype on Yuri here. I mean, he's a likable guy. I mean, he goes in there, he messes around. We saw him fight with his hands down in that Özdemir fight. He was like screaming, and he's a madman. He's crazy, and people like that stuff. In this fight, going back and watching the Özdemir fight, I didn't like what I saw in that first round. I thought, honestly, he looked not that great. I mean, he was showboating in that first round. He was fighting with his hands down to his side, leaving his head 100% exposed. He was doing that no-look striking defense. If he does that here, honestly, I think he's probably getting knocked out. You can't do that against Dominic Reyes. And in that fight, he got stunned and wobbled a few times against Özdemir. I thought he was going down a few times, but his chin's very good. But with that said, you can't get hit clean in a guy in the caliber of Dominic Reyes. And I think people are really writing off Dominic because he just got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz, who is a great fighter. He just beat Israel Adesanya, and then he lost to John Jones in a fight that honestly he probably won that fight. So I think people are writing him off, and I don't know, I think he's very live in this fight. I think this fight should be 50-50, and we do see the line closing up a little bit. I did take the shot on Dominic Reyes, so I took a shot on him, plus 120. I got 1 unit on it. I just think he should be the favorite here. Could Jiri knock him out? Absolutely. But I think that Dominic is very live for an early finish in this fight. And curious to see what happens if the fight does get extended, but I really don't see this making it past the second round, honestly. But I will take Reyes to win. I'm going to take him to win by first round knockout. If Yuri does come in here with that game plan of doing that no-look striking defense, if he does fight with his hands down, there's a very good chance that Dominic Reyes does knock him out, and that's what I'm picking to happen. So did take a bet on Dominic Reyes. I know a ton of people are going to be on the other side, but I do see value there at the plus 120. And I will be adding on to this fight. I do like the unders in this fight. Maybe not the under 1.5, but the alternate unders. I like, they're not out yet, but I'm going to be taking a look at the under 2.5, maybe the under 3.5, or a fight does not start round 3, a fight does not start round 4, something along those lines. So that will be an official play. Just don't have the lines for that yet. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Also, the fight doesn't go to decision. Minus 405 is probably a good look. I would be shocked if this fight went the distance just with the styles of both guys and how dangerous both guys are as well. But yeah, 4 bets. I'll just quickly review them. Dominic Reyes, plus 121 unit. TJ Brown, plus 155 1 unit. Strickland, Luke Boonme, parlay, minus 119. 1.5 units, Michaelitis, Bueller, under 2.5 rounds, 2 units, minus 180. And like I said, I'm looking into playing the alternate under in the Yuri Reyes fight, or a fight does not start round 3 or round 4, something along those lines. I'm looking at the fight goes to decision, Dvalishvili, Stamann, or maybe Merab by decision, minus 130, around there. Looking at that as well. Other than that, maybe a Panera submission prop, depending on what the line is. I have a feeling it's not going to be a great line, though. Calorias by submission, depending on the line as well. So those are the kind of plays I'm looking at. But ultimately, you will more than likely see an under bet or a violence bet in that main event, one way or another. So That's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All my content is out earlier in the week. This is going to be out very early in the week. I'm going to be in Vegas for the week, so I won't be back till like Monday, but we'll get after it next week. Hopefully you guys do good this week. Yeah, so good luck on your bets. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and good luck for UFC Vegas 25.